We're gonna build a computer today. And of course we're at Micro Center to do it, because where the hell else would we be?
We interrupt this video to bring you a special message from iFixit. No, we interrupt this interruption with this interruption about new stuff from iFixit. Wish you had a new graphics card, but inventory sucks? Fix the inventory problems with iFixit. Whoa, don't drop it. Can't fix that with iFixit. Just kidding, yes you can. Wish you could take iFixit with you anywhere, but your pockets aren't big enough? Introducing the new More
And the new Minnow.
Take them with you anywhere. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below for discounts and savings and explosions. More explosions. Even more explosions. Why are you still here? Click the description now.
And speaking of iFixit, they have iFixit at Micro Center. Who'd have thought? No, in all seriousness, we are at Micro Center today. Every single Christmas, I'm kind of excited because I'll get new friends and family and stuff approaching me like, hey, I want to build a computer for so-and-so, or we're going to get our first computer or whatever. So Christmas time's a fun time, I think, to do this sort of stuff because one, I'm able to use like my expertise and building skills and all that sort of stuff. Skills. Girls are like, guys, you have great skills. Anyway, to build a computer for someone for their first time, which is great. But the budget's pretty thin, let's put it that way. It's not going to be a lot of wiggle room here. So I'm trying to figure out a good combination of parts that will allow me to have some forward compatibility. So I'm kind of looking for around, that's not really like a set dollar budget, but I'm really kind of trying to stick around the $1,000 price point, which is above their budget, but I'm going to, I'm going to be throwing in upgrades at no cost kind of a deal. But one of the things I want to utilize today is actually going to be the 7600X3D. Now it is a Micro Center exclusive CPU. That's kind of unfortunate because I feel like it's a good CPU for really bringing up your gaming performance if that's what the PC is only going to be about and you don't need high thread counts, but you want the X3D, the faster cache and the amount of cache, which really helps in games. But unfortunately, because it's a Micro Center exclusive, unless you live near one or can get to one or have someone that lives near one and buy it and send it to you, it's kind of hard to get your hands on. But we do have access to it, so that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to utilize the $399 bundle, which comes with the 7600X3D. It comes with, I believe it's in, I don't remember which motherboard it is, but look at the bundle. And it comes with RAM. So then I'm going to have to get some other parts for it. Not all going to be here at Micro Center. I'm going to use some parts from my studio as well, but I need to get a case for it as well and probably a power supply. I'm realizing most of my power supplies are like 800, 1000, 1200 watts, which are all a bit too much. So let me go over to Pablo here. Let me get the bundle so we can talk about what actually comes with it, because I'm not sure of the exact specs. I just know the price to performance is a good place to start. Okay, so here are the bundle parts. So here's 7600X3D. It's a 6-core, 12-thread, obviously a 3D V-cache CPU, up to 4.7 gigahertz max boost, low power part, which means we can get away with not having to go with like some crazy cooler or whatever, which is nice. Simple air cooler. I'm going for like low maintenance here too. That's something I keep in mind when I'm building a PC for someone as their first PC, is maintenance. I don't want it to be complicated. I don't want them to worry about any sort of AIO or evaporation and the AIO starts to have problems in the future. I just want it to be like as simple as possible. The motherboard here is an Asus TUF B650 motherboard. The interesting thing about going more budget-minded, this isn't a super budget PC, but it is more budget-minded, is when you go with AM5, you're stuck with DDR5. So that does bring up the cost a little bit, but as I started to say earlier, I want this build to have forward-facing compatibility for it. So we can throw a 9000 series CPU in here in the future. Maybe they decide later they are gonna be more heavily involved in gaming, and they want to upgrade to something bigger and beefier. So forward compatibility is nice with AM5 because you could throw in a 9800X3D in there or 9950X if you wanted to go big, amount of core count and threads. Who knows what the future is for this person? So the DDR5 is kind of nice for that, but at least at the starting point, we pay a little bit more at the entry level cost, like the buy-in cost, but with a lot more future compatibility. The RAM is G.Skill Flare X5, pretty much no frills, no RGB or anything like that, that's fine. It's 6,000 mega transfers, and I can't see the CL on there. Oh, CL36. Okay, so that's actually gonna be pretty good for gaming because it's got tighter timings. So that's our core components right there. Let's go check out power supplies. I haven't decided what GPU I'm gonna go with yet. I'm gonna grab one from my supply for the GPU stuff, but I'm thinking, to be honest, like a 650 or 700 watt power supply would be a good place to start. Don't want to go too small though, because like I said, if they want to grow this system in the future, we don't want the power supply the thing that holds them back, which means they have to buy more components in the future. Just dropping in a new CPU and maybe a bigger GPU in the future should be the only upgrade I want them to have to worry about. All right, so for the power supply, I'm going to be a little bit superficial here. I'm going with the Pure Power 12M. It's a modular 750 watt power supply, 80 plus gold. What I mean by superficial is I could save 10 bucks and go with like the power spec or something like this, but the power spec still has the ketchup and mustard bundled main harness with some modular, like semi-modular cables. And for 80 bucks, and this one being 99, so we're talking $20 more, I get a brand I trust. I'm not saying I don't trust power spec, but I'm getting a brand that I've worked with a lot. It's ATX 3.0. These are not ATX 3.0, at least these particular guys at the 750 watt. So forward compatibility for 40 series, 50 series cards in the future. I'm probably gonna throw something like a 3070 or 3070 Ti in this system, to be honest, to start, because again, the price and the budget is pretty low. So I wanna be able to give them a good gaming experience, but honestly, it also comes down to, where's the photo? These do have all black sleeved cables. This one doesn't show them on here, but I know that the Pure Power has all black sleeved, or just at least black, you know, straight up ribbon type cables, which will look better. And that's what I mean about being superficial, is the fact that I do want it to look nice. I want them to look at their first PC and be like, wow, this is a nice looking computer. So let's go find a case. The one thing I usually ask people when they say, hey, I want to build a computer for myself or my wife or my child or whatever is, how much space do you have? I need to know what size case we can go with. I do know that they're using a pretty decent sized monitor, so I don't want to go too big on the case. I'm thinking a solid mid tower for this, but one that has an internal layout that will incorporate and allow for larger GPUs in the future, should they go that route. Again, the mindset here is upgradability without having to change any main components, power supply, case, motherboard. Just changing GPU and CPU should be the only thing I'm really looking for them to have to do. One thing I forgot to mention on the RAM though was the capacity. This is a 32 gig kit, so it's 16 times 2. Yeah, 16 times 2, so it is a 32 gig kit, CL36. That's actually not bad at all. I've always just appreciated like what you get with like Montech stuff. This is not a Montech sponsored thing. It's just, for me, to save money, getting cases that come with as many fans pre-installed as possible is a good thing. And so buying a case that has maybe 1 or 2 fans in the front, or stuff like this has no fans at all, there's extra costs associated with having to put fans in there. So the Montech Air 903 Max, we did a video about this. You can see it's got 3 120 millimeter fans in the front, and then it's got a 120 exhaust in the back. Is that 120? That's a 140 exhaust in the back. Oh, and these are 140s in the front. So you got a lot of airflow. Not the biggest case, so that's kind of nice. If I was to go even cheaper at 60 bucks with the X3, I built in this in the Miami store. My concern about this case here is you can see, again, it's got 2 exhaust fans at the top, 1 exhaust in the back, 3 intakes in the front, lots of airflow, but it's not very long of a case. So it's gonna be limited in future GPU compatibility. As we know, GPUs continue to get bigger and bigger if you start to look at high-end stuff. I also am not a fan of this, because I did build in this in Miami. I don't like the daisy chain Molex stuff. This is just terrible for me personally. Okay, so final parts recap, because we pieced out of Micro Center pretty quickly as it was getting busy. Air Max, or the Air 903 Max case we did a review on, actually really enjoy this case. Talked about why it's big enough to fit future GPUs that are larger and comes with plenty of case airflow and case fans and such. The Pure Power 12M 750 watt gold power supply, 32 gigs of CL36 Flare X DDR5 Expo RAM, specifically for AMD, since we have AMD. I don't think I showed this. I actually went with the Deepcool AG400 BK cooler. And I was like, how do y'all have Deepcool on your shelf? But again, they're claused in there because they already had them by the time the sanctions started. But that shows how many of these he had, because that was like, what, well over a year ago that happened. So decent air cooler for 30 bucks. That's gonna definitely be able to cool the low power 7600 X3D gaming CPU. And then the motherboard we already showed, B650 Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. So it's perfect because they're not gonna be wired in it. They are using Wi-Fi. And forward compatibility with 9000 series. Already has a 9000 series BIOS on there, which is nice. Yeah, so this should be a pretty low maintenance type of system for them. The parts that I said I had to include in this, so I'm putting a 2 terabyte, that would not hold much. A 2 terabyte P5 Plus from Crucial. I have a lot of these. 2 terabytes will be way more than enough for someone just getting a PC for the first time. And then the speeds are plenty fast. It's PCIe Gen 4. This does have Gen 5, but again, cost of performance on the P5 Plus, hard to beat. And then, yeah, I'm actually going with the 3070 Strix. A couple reasons. I have 2 of them. And this is one of the cards that we kept for when we do like regression testing, when we test older hardware. So I don't need 2 of them. It's gonna be a great card for somebody just starting out in PC gaming. I think they're using 1440p monitor, potentially a 1080p, so it's gonna be plenty fast. So with that said, let's build it. And I'm gonna do something today with this build. I'm gonna actually try very hard to very neatly wire the back of the PC. There's hardly any wires in this thing. It should be easy, but I feel like every time I go somewhere where like SIs are building systems and I just see how neat and tidy all their wire management is, like I just need to start upping my game. So let's start with this system. Doesn't actually look too bad. So total price on this right now adds up to about $1,076. There's a million different ways you could actually spend $1,000 on a PC. At the lower price point, like 700, 800, 500, you become kind of shoehorned into a very specific route, which is just sort by lowest and put it together. But at 1,000, you start getting a whole bunch of different options. I feel personally like it's a pretty balanced system with the 3070. It's a Strix card, it's the only 3070 I have. Actually, other than the Noctua, I have 2 of these, a Founders Edition and the Noctua 3070. The Noctua would not have looked good in here because it's all the browns and beiges and stuff. This actually looks really nice in here, and I forgot it was a dual by those cards. I just put it on performance so the fans are always on. A lot of matte black going on in here. The cool thing is I have to get an operating system installed on here now, but I like that the Montech case, not a Montech ad, but I like that the Montech case has a RGB controller, which is what we're plugged into for the AIO. That's the only other RGB that's not the fans that are included, or I guess the GPU. I do need to install, I forget what, I guess it's Armory Crate to control the lighting on this. Sorry. Anyway, we can control the lighting with the motherboard / case toggle button. So we can either use the motherboard pass-through, which is plugged in, or we can use the case button to control it. But we need to see if we actually get a post. So, well, I like that it's set to white right off the bat. Never mind. it was.
It's sound activated.
Dang, I forgot how much airflow there is for these fans. Okay, we just got a white light, so we should get a post here any second. Fans are slowing down. We got a blue light. Oh, look at that. Wow. Fastest memory training ever. All of our RAM is showing up, 32 gigs of it. It's currently at 4,800 megahertz. So this is a good time actually, if you were building a computer for the first time, to go and check out our what to do after building your computer. Because so many people don't know what to do after that. They're like, I'm now at this screen, what the heck happens? So I'll put a link down below to send you guys to that video so you can go and check out what to do next. But fans are doing what they're supposed to do. They're all hooked up to the hub, except the CPU cooler fan. It is hooked up directly to the CPU header on the motherboard, so it has independent control. No exhaust fans at the top. We have one 140 millimeter exhaust on the bottom, which will be plenty. 3 140 millimeter intakes, giving a lot of positive pressure, so lots of airflow being fed directly to this 3070. Then of course you can go through all the different settings, which has each mode. Like this is like a pinwheel mode, but it goes through it per color. We got sort of a breathing mode. It's gonna be breathing per color. I'm just gonna leave it honestly on the RGB for the moment. I have no idea what they want color-wise, but I'll show them how that works. And I'm only doing that right now because it matches the GPU. Since until the OS is installed, we get Armor Crate going, we can't do anything about the color on the light bar. I love being able to build a computer for someone that knowing it's their first computer. They've never owned anything other than like a hand-me-down laptop type of deal. And knowing that this computer is now going to be playing games, I think it's a pretty balanced build. Like I started to say earlier, there's a million different ways you could spend $1,000, but not trying to fit in a current gen GPU really freed us up to be able to do a pretty strong build. So 3070 with the 7600X3D, we know that CPU is not going to be bottlenecked by this GPU. And if we wanted in the future, we could literally take this GPU out, plop in any other GPU that uses PCI Express or PCIe 5.1. This is a 5.1 power supply, so it has the updated plug, and be good up to 750 watts, which should honestly be able to get us up to like a 4070 Ti. Like that should be good up to a 4070 Ti. 4080, 4080 Super, we're starting to push it now. We need 850 watt power supplies and up for those. Even on the same CPU, could probably still handle it pretty well. I've never done a full benchmark of the 7600X3D, but I have watched videos about it. And I do know how well it can perform in games. And that is the only thing this computer is gonna be doing is maybe schoolwork and games. So anyway, huge thanks to Micro Center for helping us out by getting us that 7600X3D. As I mentioned, it is a Micro Center exclusive CPU. So that's the only negative I could really think about it, is the fact that it's a Micro Center only. So hopefully you know someone that's near a Micro Center, or you can get to a Micro Center to pick one up. But if you're looking to get into the X3D bandwagon, but not spend a ton of money, they do have these bundles. There is a more expensive bundle. I chose this bundle at the $399, which I think is a fair price given the fact that we get the CPU, a good B650 motherboard, and 32 gigs of Expo RAM. That is 6,000 mega transfers at CL36. The CL36 is the exciting part there. You can find 6,000 mega transfers at like 40 or even 38, but 36, that's only gonna couple itself very well with the X3D found on the 7600X3D. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. Time to get Windows installed, and who knows what the heck the first game's gonna be on here. Unfortunately, this computer is gonna be sitting for about the next 22 days because it is a Christmas gift. So, thanks for watching guys, we'll see you in the next one. I'm Santa on this one, but I don't get any of the credit. That fat guy gets all the glory, yet I and my parents around the world spend all the money. But Santa's totally real though. I don't know who's watching. The Santa's a totally real person, and so is the elf on the shelf.